Hey everybody, welcome back to more early morning barking, talking about BPD and MPD by somebody that has both. Hi there, how you doing? So today's video is coming to you from my car because, quite frankly, I'm sick of making videos in my office at home. That's entirely it. So I got in my car and I came outside and I thought, I'll do a video here. We can all handle that, can't we? And I realized how much more grey I look in this light anyway. And so I think there might be more videos of me in my car or just going somewhere. Right, ideally I'd be outside today, but it's throwing it down with rain, so that's not happening. So we're in the car, we're at Starbucks, if that's any help. But hi, I'm back. I had COVID for a couple of weeks and now I'm fine again, so I thought I'd start making videos. It's supposed to be my job after all. Stop prattling and get to it. I want to talk to you about emotional regulation because as people with BPD, and I sort of think to some extent as people with NPD, we might struggle with emotional regulation. We definitely on the BPD side, I'm willing to debate this on the MPD side, but I kind of feel like I don't know if it's one of those times where my BPD mixes with the MPD and sort of gives me that. So it's difficult. But this emotional dysregulation that we have, we feel everything so much and it's all over the place. I imagine it as one of those old VU meters just flapping around all over the place from happy to sad. And we need very little to throw us in one direction or another. And I find it to be one of the more sort of crippling elements of living with BPD, to be perfectly honest. It's the one that makes me emotionally sensitive when I don't want to be. It doesn't come from a place of rational thought. It doesn't come from a place of how you genuinely feel. It feels more fake than that to me. It always has. It feels like I expect to feel like that, so I do. Like it's another one of the self-fulfilling prophecies. But then at the same time, I don't know. It came from somewhere. It can't just be a learned habit without it starting from somewhere, can it? I suppose that's a thing. I guess a lot of the emotions surrounding BPD have always felt very fake to me. They've always felt very forced because they're so not based in anything real. I can, I talk about the blanket of sadness, and that's essentially what this is, right? Emotional dysregulation, that getting wrapped up in a negative feeling and not being able to shake it off. I feel like it's like a layer of camouflage emotions on top of our actual emotions. Something like that. It's a very abstract concept, I'm aware, and it's very difficult to vocalize it, to put it into words that make sense. I feel like some of you with BPD will be nodding along with me and others might be struggling a little bit. I'm doing the best I can with it. Regulating yourself, doing something about it, has been very difficult to do. This isn't something you can sort of talk your way through in therapy. I find this to be one of the, this is one of the internal parts of BPD. This isn't, I don't know. Like a lot, for example, I break it down into two parts. What's wrong with us? We have the emotional part and the lifestyle habit part. The emotional stuff, this is like my childhood, my trauma, all this stuff, whatever. And I went to therapy and you can talk about this stuff. You can get it out there. You can deal with it, face up to problems, whatever, talk things through with a therapist. So many things you can do to deal with trauma and pain and upset and all the emotional stuff. And you can see where it all comes from. You can see why I have it. I can point to things in my life, to times in my life, elements, events, that sort of thing. And we go, oh, look, this is where this all comes from. It's fine. And then you have the other more obscure side of the BPD things, and that's where this emotional dysregulation comes from, where it's very much, why? Why is this happening? This is nothing to do with all of like, I've made peace with all the stuff that upset me, that was bad in my life, that, I'm working through that. But still this emotional dysregulation. Dissociation fits on this pile as well. It's, what? Why? How do I stop that? Because I don't want to do it. And it doesn't, no amount of talking through my emotions has done anything about it. Right? 3.5 years of therapy, to the point where it was time to leave therapy because there was nothing more to get out of therapy. That's why I left. And yet all this stuff is still here. It's something infinitely more annoying and irritating. And no matter how much peace I make with things in my life and have radical acceptance and all of that, it's all still there. So I need other ways of dealing with it. I try to tell you to put stuff off, do it tomorrow. That's the thing. And it applies to everything, right? It applies to everything. Once again, someone will be a smart ass and write in the comments, well, what about my homework? Does it apply to that? Yeah, been there. But it applies to this reaction where possible. It depends on what I'm going through. It depends on what the thing is. But the anger, the rage, the spontaneous acts, all of that can be done tomorrow. But also I'm finding this halfway ground of go and sit on your own in the car for half an hour. Incidentally, that's not what I'm doing right now. I mean, I'm doing that, but that's not why. But I'd be like, I found a lot of peace in this. Just sort of, I'm going to go and just sit out of the house on my own, in my own little box here, just to regulate, just to sort of calm down, to think things through. And I think this is where our old friend mindfulness comes back. And once again, I say, I have to look more into mindfulness. And yeah, maybe I do, right? Being in that moment, that's really what this is. If I'm honest, this is that mindfulness moment. Oh, that's what today's TikTok is. That's what today's TikTok is. Look out for that. Being in the moment, experiencing what you feel you should be experiencing when everything in your mind is telling you otherwise. That's difficult to do, but that's emotional dysregulation and emotional regulation, bits of it. I'm not wording that very well. Sorry, I'm not a professional. There's also the sadness side of it, the whole when I'm crying when I don't want to. That sort of thing. It's all a balance. It's all an act, You grow up trying not to cry. Then you're told, oh, you can cry when you want. Then you realise, I don't want to cry all the time. Chip, what a load of rubbish. I don't want to do that. I want to have proper reactions to things. I don't want to be overly emotional. I don't want to, I need to hit some balance here. I need to not be someone that hides their emotions and locks them away, but also not somebody that just has them turned on like a tap like that. And it's something, I've been caught up in it a lot over the last couple of weeks with worry. Worry is a good one. Worry is a good one with the emotional regulation. You'll worry about so many things that you can't do anything about. And for that, we talk about radical acceptance, right? That I cannot do anything to change these things, therefore I shouldn't worry about them. Which is easier said than done, but I think there's something to it. I always compare it to a video game getting harder. Just when you think you've won, just when you think you've killed that last wave of zombies, here's another, and this one's twice as big, and some of them explode. And you don't throw a tantrum at the game. You go, well, this is the game. And you get on with it. And I think there's a lot to be said for trying to do that in real life. With the worry. This is the game. I will worry about things that there are to worry about when they happen. And then I will deal with them properly. I'm talking rubbish now. There's so many different elements to this. That's the thing, this emotional regulation, keeping your mind where you want it to be, where it should be. And we have such a loose grip on that. We have such a slippery grip. And we lose our grip all the time. Does my head in. Probably yours too, I'll imagine. You take care. I'll see you later. Bye.